What's up, y'all? I got another quick lesson for you guys today, and I also wanted to try out this cool wireless mic system I got. So anyway, say you're at some audition or a gig or a rehearsal of some sort, and the band leader says, all right, y'all, we're gonna do a C blues. So here we go. So you start playing like this. That's not gonna work, right? Come on, let's get real now. So this lesson is about blues chords and about how you can sort of substitute certain chords in a blues context. This was actually a requested lesson from a comment on my Ray Charles lick. So if you forgot that lick already, it sounds like this. Okay, so we got our Ray Charles lick going, and I mean, what are you going to do? Just play. All right, it works, but you could do some cooler things, right? So let's start off by reviewing what in the world the 12-bar blues progression actually is. We're going to start ourselves off with the 1 chord, a C chord. If you really want to sound like you know what you're doing, put the B flat in there, that's the 7. So now we have not just a boring old C chord, now we got some spice in our lives. We got this 7 up there. So now we have C7, okay? Now in a typical 12-bar blues, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 1 bar of C, okay? Next, we're gonna go to the 4 chord. That would be 2, 3, 4. That's going to take us to F, okay? Again, putting in that 7 in there. So here's what we got so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the C again. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 2 bars of C. So we got C, F, C, C. Next, we're going to go right back where we just were to the F7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Back to the C again. This is measure 7 if you're counting. Another measure of C. So we got 8 bars so far. For the last 4 bars, we're going to go to this G again. There's our 7, the F over top of the G major chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I explained that correctly, it should equal out to 12 bars. Let's play it again. Get your chords ready. Get your snazzy 7ths ready. And here we go. So 1, 2, 3, here we go. 2, 3, to the F, 2, 3, to back to the C. Stay on the C. 2, 3, back to the F. 2, another F. 2, 3, back to the C. 2, 3, 4, another C. Last 4, G, F, and then 2 bars of C. 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got our 12-bar blues, but let's talk about substitutions now. So a lot of guys like to talk about jazz chord substitution, tritone substitutions, all kind of wacky gospel chord substitutions. So you could take, for instance, Amazing Grace in the key of C, and you could play it like this. You could play. All right, you could, right? Basically, as long as you have one of those notes in the melody, any chord is going to pretty much work. It just depends on how terrible you want your song to sound and how far you want to stray from the original tune. But anyway, that's all about melody. In blues, it's more about knowing the circle of fifths, and it's more about being in sync with your bass player. So for instance, we're playing in the key of C, you don't want to go around substituting your very first chord, or people are not going to know what key your song is in. It's just not going to sound good. So we start in C. Now one thing you can do over this very first C chord is go here, all right? This is actually the progression I played in the Ray Charles video. So I did something like this. Okay, now if I take out the moving notes, here's all that's going on. Not very interesting, right? What makes it cool is this. Now if I take out the static notes, this is what's going on. Okay, so I got my right hand here, right hand, and then the left hand. It's all going on while I'm holding the octave C's. Okay, can't really do that very well while I'm holding the keyboard, but here. Now the C's still keep us grounded in that key, and the moving notes give us a little bit of motion, so it doesn't sound boring, doesn't sound like Wonder Bread. It sounds like you know what you're doing again. So we can take our C blues, okay, so we're not just playing. You could do that, that works, but something like that is going to get you a lot more attention from the ladies. Okay, also in the G, again, you can practice that in all kind of different ways, do little drills. Okay, that's all left hand there, by the way. Look, see. Okay, so left hand drill. Now let's put it into the progression. Here we go. Okay, so that's something at least. If you get nothing else out of this video, you can take that and use it. It's not copyrighted or anything. So anyway, one thing you can definitely do is you can do a little slide up to that G in your right hand. You can even do it in both hands, I guess. And so really, again, soulful, you know, expressive sounding things you can do just with those moving three notes there. So anyway, have some fun with that, first of all, but we really haven't gotten into substitutions yet. So like I said, this has to do with the circle of fifths. Go Google that. I'm not going to break the whole thing down here. Essentially, if you can count to 5, you know your circle of fifths. If you can tell the difference between 6 semitones and 7 semitones, you'll be okay. By the way, a semitone is simply a half step. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that gives us a perfect fifth. So if you go up 7 semitones all the way up, all the way up, all the way up, you'll end up eventually getting back to the note that you started on, and it takes you in a big old circle like this. The circle of fifths, okay? That's as deep as I'm going to get into the explanation in this video. Many other people have covered it way more in detail than I'm going to here. Anyway, what does this have to do with the blues progression? First of all, you can use what is called a 2-5-1. Now, if you're good at counting, you can take your 2 in the key of C, which if C is 1, there's your 2. Now, look what happens if we start stepping down here. We step down from the 2 to the 5 G. All right, check this out. So there's your 2. Let's step down. There's our G, there's our 5. Now what happens if we step down again? We end up with a circle of fifths happening here. So from D to G to C, they all kind of go together. They all kind of lead into each other. So what we have is 2, 5, 1. I'm gonna flub that. Okay. 2, 5, 1. All right. Are you with me so far? You should know all of your 2, 5, 1s in every key. So you can do a little move like this. And then you can go. And you can do it again. And again. You can go all the way down. Okay? Learn all your 2, 5, 1s. If you can do that, then you can really start adding some spice into your life and impress even more ladies at your gig. All right? Check this out. Before we get to this F chord, I'm gonna do a 2, 5, 1 into the F. So check this out. You can do something like this. Okay, so we eventually landed in F. And so in F, 2, 5, 1. So we could go, the G minor, something like that. Okay, so again, okay, so now what we're doing is we're substituting those extra beats of C chord. We're substituting that with a G7, a C7, and then finally getting us to the F. So you with me so far? So instead of just hitting C, F, we can go G, C, F. Okay, fifths. That's all we're doing. We're just doing fifths. And again, all dominant 7 chords. In blues, if you're not playing dominant 7 chords, you're not doing it right. So anyway, getting us back to the C, here we go. What's the 2 of C? We already did that. Alright, I'm playing real simple chords here, but if I put it into the progression, check this out. So C, now we're going to go to the F. You could even just do a 5-1. Go to G, F over G. Let's try a 2-5-1 here. Okay, so again, watch those left-hand notes there. All right, so we're substituting. Instead of doing F, F, we can do F, D, G, C. So F, 2, 5, 1. And I'm just throwing different extensions on top of those chords, but if you follow the bass line, 2, 5, 1. All right. Getting to the G. Real quick, I just thought of this as well. You can also go chromatically down. If we're going from G to F, for instance, go from G, F sharp, F. Okay? Just stepping down, easy enough. Okay, so again, 2, 5, 1. So there it is. If you know all your 2 5s, you'll be okay. One last thing as well here. Going into the G, you can also do a 2, 5, 1 coming from the 2 of G, 5 of G, 1 of G. Okay? So that's where this A7 can come into play here. You get this A7, D7 to the or you can also use G sus, because your G is your dominant. That's your main 5 chord that we're going to. So this, 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 all of these will work. Even something like that could work, getting you back to the C, but I digress. Getting us into the G. So again, right when I was going to that G, A, there's your 5, there's your G, and then again, the very last end of the 12-bar blues, back to the C again. So if you're really comfortable with these 2-5-1s, you can really start jazzing up these blues progressions. You're not talking about 3 chords anymore. It's still 3 main chords, but you're passing in and out of these main chords and coming up with creative ways to apply these fifths. And of course, the same rule that goes with 2-5-1s applies to 3-6 2-5-1s, 7-3-6 2-5-1s. Now, in a blues progression, you might not have, 8 extra bars to spare to go through the entire circle of fifths. You might not have all of that much time. However, think about it, and you might be able to come up with some creative things here. So I'll just do a last little jam here, kind of applying some of these things. So, all right, here we go. 2, 3, 4. One thing I noticed that I really am a fan of, since I play a lot of gospel, are these diminished chords. Just like going, you can, same thing works when you're using those half steps as little stepping stones between your chords. You can always throw in a diminished chord there. So, okay, little diminished chord, 3 semitones, 3 semitones, 3 semitones, okay? Really resolves really nicely, really easy, gives you that, again, soulful sound, that sort of jazzy, more seasoned, more experienced type sound. So, you can even use it going down. Again, chromatic. Just stepping up the scale. Again. Put them all together. Okay, F. To the A7. Sharp 9. Okay, D. G7. Okay, I'm using these 7 spread voicings in the left hand. And then for the end, chromatically, you can. Oh. Okay, so one last little secret thing I'll give you here. Using this 13 can be really powerful, especially in blues when you're only dealing with simple progressions. So you could do something along the lines of, okay, to the G, 13, 13, again in the F, okay, up here, there's a spicy one for you, D flat 7, bringing you into the C, right? So just a chromatic passing chord here, flat 2, back to the 1. This is all fairly simple theory-wise, but it's about how you use it. I mean, I was just like, again, the 12-bar blues is supposed to be C, F, C, G, F, C, 3 chords. I'm getting away with D flat 7 sharp 9s, A 7s, A flat 7s, F sharp 7s, D 7s, E flat 7s. You can get away with all of it because you're putting it into a context and you're keeping track of where you are in your circle. So that's pretty much it, I think, for blues substitutions. If you like this lesson, hit the like. If you want to see more videos like this, definitely, make a request. Like I said, this is coming from a random guy that commented on a video and said, hey, can you break down that progression a little bit and explain what's going through your head? So hopefully that was sufficient. I know he said that I'd go a little fast. It's a little bit hard to follow sometimes. So I tried to make this one a little bit faster and more advanced and more challenging for you. So good on you guys if you are following this and it is making sense. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if I'm doing something right or if I'm doing something wrong. You want me to go back and, sometimes I just play the right thing and say the completely wrong thing. So if y'all can catch any of those, definitely let me know as well, and I'll make an annotation or something. But other than that, I will see you guys on the next lesson. Stay tuned this week. I got 2 more jam videos from Rock Bottom. I have a Christmas special coming up. And yeah, I hope y'all are having a wonderful Christmas season. That's why I got my little snowflake ascot on here. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.